founder and director of technology at TakingIT Global. TakingIT Global is a nonprofit based in Canada. We run an online social network for social good, basically engaging about 4.5 million young people every year and trying to really inspire, inform, and involve young people about all kinds of different global and social issues, really leveraging the power of technology to create powerful, rich, interactive learning experiences. And here today with Microsoft and Smithsonian, we're announcing a new program called Shout, which is all about specifically focusing on environmental issues, looking at the issue this first year around land and how we can really engage students in really understanding and protecting the natural habitat and the land of the world.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Claudia Brown, and I'm the Assistant Secretary for Education and Access at the Smithsonian Institution.
Wow, get closer.
And I represent the work of about 250 educators who then work with scientists and historians and art historians to bring scholarship and knowledge to people all over the world.
Exciting. And so what is your role in Shout Learning?
The Smithsonian is partnering with TakingIT Global and Microsoft Partners in Learning to get information to teachers and to students about the importance of saving the environment, basically. And we have scientists who are specifically working on banding trees and who are collecting data, and we see this as an opportunity for young people to begin to participate in that process.
So this whole idea of student sourcing scientific data collection is really a somewhat revolutionary idea. As you were discussing this idea, you know, how did your scientists feel and how did you feel at the Smithsonian about doing something like this and actually involving students?
You know, our scientists are used to collaborating with their peers across the globe, and we were really excited about the possibility of teachers and students doing the same thing. This project allows students also to do real work that has real meaning and that will have a societal benefit. So it was a win-win situation all around.
So you talked about this morning that there's some very powerful stories that have come from the DeForest Action. And I know there's a documentary being made, but could you tell us just a story maybe that is one of those stories that just brings it home about what happens when you empower students to collaborate in this way?
Sure. Well, DeForest Action and tree banding are the first two challenges of the Shout program. And DeForest Action launched in January as a pilot program focused in Asia Pacific. So we had schools in Singapore, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, all collaborating together online and looking at the deforestation in Borneo as part of a documentary called The Burning Season. And the students were really inspired to do something and act and kind of raise awareness about the products they were buying and how they were impacting the rainforest. So palm oil in particular, which in Australia is found in a type of cookie called Tim Tams, which are very, very popular in Australia. And the students were kind of shocked to learn that some of the everyday products that they took for granted actually contributed to destruction of the rainforest in the Borneo. So they've created some amazing films which are online through the shoutlearning.org website. Under Live the Land, there's a link to DeForest Action. And they've created films to raise awareness all over the world and to their peers across Australia, and putting a lot of pressure on those companies and their government to really think about how they label their products and where they source them from to make sure they're not destroying the environment by eating their favorite cookies. So it's amazing to see students as young as primary school really understanding that connection, and not only understanding it, but then teaching their peers collaboratively online about it.
So when students get involved, as you know, several of you have used the word organic, that things start happening. What are your long-term plans or your short-term plans as you work with this project to adjust as students bring you suggestions? Are you going to have an online suggestion method, or how are you going to respond as the students interact and
Yeah, that's a great question. That's the reason why I only listed the first two challenges, because the other ones are still very undefined. We're really hoping to benefit from a lot of input from educators here at the Innovative Education Forum, and also from students that are a part of the projects and helping us define where we focus next. So we definitely want to be very student-driven and really benefiting from the creativity of all the students and teachers that begin this journey with us.
And that really deserves a lot of praise to have that attitude, because you could sit around in a room and come up with the next 12 and it would just be what some adults thought students might want. But by student sourcing, allowing students to propose and be part of the action, then that gives you the flexibility. And so many schools and organizations aren't willing to have the flexibility to say, okay, students, you do it next. Yeah. And it's just a great thing to see y'all doing this. So you've got how many students now in TakingIT Global?
Last year we had over 4.5 million young people and students interact with our website. I know Smithsonian has tens of thousands of educators and awareness globally of their work.
We do, but one of the things I think that's important here is Michael talks about how DeForest Action came about because teachers who were part of this community made it clear that this is what they wanted to do. And at the Smithsonian, we really care about our constituents. We understand completely that we don't have all the answers, and even though we care about evaluation, a part of that evaluation is understand unanticipated outcomes. And so there's every possibility that a teacher or a student will share with us something that we never expected to have happen. And so we value the voices from the people who are doing the work on the ground because they help us to understand how we need to be approaching our work in the future.
And I have to mention this because, as you know, Wayne Clough was president of Georgia Tech, and we lost him to the Smithsonian, and that's my alma mater. I've read quite a bit about his vision for the Smithsonian. Would you just say a quick word about where he's taking you? Because I know a lot of what you're doing is because of his vision for flattening the world.
Oh, absolutely. So the office that I run was created under his administration. There were many educators at the Smithsonian doing incredible work, but there was no united voice. And just as we want to be a part of a global community, our internal community needed to be stronger, and we needed to be working across disciplines. And so his vision is that we have a learning community both internally and externally, but it's also about our reaching people not just in Washington, D.C., but we need to be reaching people who might come to the Smithsonian once in a lifetime, but we also need to be reaching all those people who will never come. The research that we're engaged in and the work that we do needs to be global.
And last question, go ahead.
Nice.
I was going to say that Mike, you're very inspirational because in a lot of ways, I know you're an entrepreneur, sort of, I guess you're non-profit, but you're really, you have the heart of teacherpreneurs because you're always, could you tell us how this has kind of evolved? Because I think it's so important as people look at nonprofits and the whole nature of, oh, I went to this, I talked to this person, this happened, I went to that, I tweeted somebody or I connected, and your whole story from what, rollerblading to today. Mm-hmm. This happened when you were rollerblading, is that right?
So TakingIT Global was founded 10 years ago, and it was a conversation I was having with a friend just about the future of education and learning and how we could leverage the power of technology to support that. And over the last 10 years, it's been very kind of organic in its growth. Most of the ideas, most of the evolution of TakingIT Global has resulted from ideas from young people that have, shared with us. They've said, hey, it'd be great if we had a place for young artists to share their work. Now we have the Global Gallery, which has over 20,000 youth and student created submissions. There's tons of stories. Teachers helped us create our Global Issues section, which has 35 global issue portals. And so it is it has been very entrepreneurial. And in fact, we now also run a program called Sprout, which is all about supporting young social entrepreneurs, especially environmental ones. So I'm sure that a lot of the students getting involved in Shout and the projects they create, they're going to really be evolving to the next generation of entrepreneurs, both social entrepreneurs and business entrepreneurs that are really going to help to address these issues in communities and countries around the world. So we're excited to see what they come up with.
And I also have to say thank you from behind the camera for your support of Black Classroom when we were just starting, because y'all have been around for a little while and you recognized us in 2007, and that really helped us get to our next level. So you're part of our story, and I just hope that both of you will continue in your leadership and that scientists will take notice, as well as this is what we need to be doing, as well as, Microsoft is not sitting here with us, but I interviewed Anthony a little earlier, and it's just a great thing that you're doing. So could you give me websites and Twitter handles one more time?
Thanks, I was just going to do that. And so we hope to see everyone online at shoutlearning.org and on Twitter at shoutlearning. It's our Shout Learning handle.
And your website?
Well, there's www.smithsonian.education.
Okay, excellent.
But Shout.
Yes, shout. Everybody shout. Okay, thank you.
See you online.